Peace and love, family. Come on in. Come on in. I'm going to give y'all a couple minutes to come in because y'all already know how the notifications and stuff been going on here lately. So we going to vibe out. We going to vibe out. Come on in. Come on in. I am not going to be on here long. I have a short, quick, and to the point message for y'all tonight. And I'm excited to get it off because y'all, TikTok has been doing me so dirty. So dirty. But if you are new here, make sure that you drop your name down in the chat so I can greet you properly. Welcome, 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 welcome. If this is your first time joining us, I am Yinka. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, y'all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I know I'm on here super late, too. But I did want to come on and chop it up with y'all real quick before I get off of my social media vibes for tonight. So, I'm going to go ahead and get right into it. I don't expect the algorithm to be in my favor, so whoever come in and catch the vibes, y'all just come in. But again, if you are new, if you've never met me before, this is your first time catching me on live, drop your name down in the chat so I can greet you properly throughout the live stream. I am Yinka, the owner and creator of my snatch shop, and I help women tap into their feminine energy, level up in their goddess energy, and heal holistically. So if there's something that you're interested in, if you're watching for the first time, make sure you go and hit that follow button because I definitely appreciate it. And come on in and hit the share button because I have been shadow banned all year. I was about to say for a couple months, but it's literally been all year. So let's get right into it, y'all. I'm trying to get off of here before midnight. It is 11:15 at this exact time. I don't know where y'all tuning in from. Y'all can drop y'all locations down in the comments as well. Let me know where y'all showing love from. But I wanted to get right into it and discuss this tonight. I'm not doing an intuitive message. I mean, well, everything is intuitive, right? But I'm not pulling any cards. I don't think I'm pulling any cards. That's not my intention for tonight. My intention for tonight, this discussion, is to talk about sensuality. There is so much conversation around femininity, what femininity looks like. Is it aesthetic? Is it a vibe? There's so much wars going on right now between the Janae Aiko. Is it? Her name is Janae. Yeah, Janae Aiko and Sexy Red, I think that's her name. Big Red. The new girl on the block. It's so much conversation between them two as if talking about like they're the same girl with a different aesthetic, but they talk about the same stuff in their music, and why Sexy Red is getting so much backlash. Not to say that these two have anything to do with sensuality per se, but the conversation around those two says a lot about the different vibes that women are getting, or the different how you're received as a woman based off of your aesthetic and things like that, which has nothing to do with sensuality. I just thought I'd throw that out there. But for me, I would say that well, we're not even gonna get into that. Let's get into sensuality because that's a whole nother rant within itself. But sensuality, the reason why I brought up that conversation between those two is because it's a way to talk about your desires. It's a way to actually feel your desires without actually being repulsive. You know, like if it's up to me, I am not somebody who's gonna listen to Sexy Red. I'm sorry. No shade to the sis. You know, I support all black girls who win in. I'm a fan. So, but I wouldn't listen to her music. I'm more of a Janae Aiko kind of girl, you know. I don't mind the sexy talk. I don't even mind Suki. Like, I love Suki. That's my girl. But again, it's about the aesthetic. It's about the presentation more than anything to me, because I feel like, excuse me, even with Suki is very beautiful and Suki is very vulgar, but she still carries herself very beautifully. Like, a pet peeve of mine is just seeing women with their nails broken off. Like, you on camera, you knew you had to be seen today. You were intentionally showing up to a place to be on camera, and you got like 3 nails on. That's a pet peeve of mine. That's just me and my standard. But that just gives a negative. It just makes it seem like you don't care. And I hate when black women are shown like that, because no, she's not the face of black women, but I feel like as any type of influencer, you should want to present yourself as the best version of yourself. That's just me. That's just my opinion, but that just is what it is. On the other hand, the mindset is not the biggest thing. So where people might be saying, oh, well, she's just nasty or whatever, the lyrics is not even the worst thing, honestly. It's really not. Like, we grew up on Trina. Like, come on now. You know, it's really not that bad. It's not the lyrics. It's the presentation. So how do we get this? And hey, y'all that's coming in, y'all not talking, but if you are watching, make sure y'all drop your name in the chat so I can greet y'all properly, talk to y'all throughout the live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. But the reason why I wanted to talk about sensuality is because there is a difference between sensuality and sexuality. And I do not think that I'm being intentional with my words. I do not think, hey babes, I do not think that as a valuable woman, hey newbie, I do not think as a valuable woman that you should be displaying your sexuality. I don't think that should be a topic of discussion. I don't think that should be something that's just publicly advertised as a valuable woman. But sensuality, I feel like you should exude sensuality. What's the difference between sensuality and sexuality? Sensuality is the entire body. Sensuality is not just how you look and how you feel, but it's also visuals. It's also, you know, the things that you taste. It's also the things that you hear. All of those play a part in arousal, so to speak. And when you tap into your sensuality, it allows you to be magnetic on a whole nother level. Like, if you've never been, and this is why I teach my students like how to be feminine, because femininity is sensuality. I had a video that went viral months back. I don't even know if it was this year. It's probably at the end of last year, but it was a minute ago, talking about how we can be out on dates or be out with guys and we're stimulated by them. Like, maybe the conversation, maybe it's their cologne, whatever it is, but we're stimulated by them and it turns up, you know, gets us into a sensual mood. But that don't mean that we want to sex you. That don't mean that we want to touch on you like that. You know what I'm saying? And they don't understand that. So back to that conversation, when you are tapped into your sensuality, you become more magnetic, because the key to feminine energy is attraction. That's how you know when you're in your feminine energy, when you're just attracting things, when you just have opportunities come to you out of nowhere, when, you know, things that you can speak something out or think something and it just comes up the next day or the next week or something. When things are you're just magnetic to things that you want. That's how you know when you're in your feminine energy. That's how you know when you're in a healthy, divine feminine energy, because femininity can be toxic just like masculinity can be toxic. How can it be toxic? And I don't even like using the term toxic because it's so much wordplay and people put such a negative aspect on everything. But the negative aspect of being feminine is when you are using your seduction, using your sensuality to pretty much just for ill intent. Like, your intention is to be manipulative in a negative way, to, you know, just take from somebody and not reciprocate it. That's the negative aspect of it. Whereas in a healthy way, you'll not only be able to attract the things that you think you want, but you'll be able to attract everything else in general. Like, you can be more intentional on what you're actually attracting, if that makes sense. So yeah, how to tap more into your sensual vibes versus being so sexual. Because y'all know, if y'all been following for a minute, y'all know that I'm like on my journey. This is the last year in my 20s, so I've been on my journey of tapping into my rich auntie era, like, bringing myself to whatever these vibes are of me being in my 30s. Like, I'm only a few months away from turning 30, and I just feel like, I just had to be a whole nother goddess stepping into this era. So if y'all been following me, y'all kind of know that. But as I step into this era, some of the things that I'm kind of like, I won't necessarily say putting to bed, but changing about myself would be how I express my sensuality. I am somebody who hates wearing clothes. Like, I prefer to be naked. I prefer to show a little skin. I mean, I just love it. I love sunbathing. I love my skin is super soft. I love my thighs, they super juicy and all that. Like, I just love showing some skin. Like, it's just in me. But tapping more into my sensuality, tapping more into, being an adult and whatnot, and being more classy, being more modest, I have to learn, or I'm learning how to find those same things that make me feel sexy when I don't have no clothes on, or when I'm in something that looks a little bit more provocative. Like, how do I feel sexy in something just like what I got on today, or something that's just more like, that's classier, so to speak? How can I still feel sexy? How can I still feel, confident in things that aren't as skimpy, so to speak? And I'm not saying this to change anybody's wardrobe. If you want to be sexy, girl, be sexy. Like, if your version of sexy, they don't have to be the same. But the intention of this conversation is learning how to be more sensual and being more in tune with things that give you pleasure. If I get pleasure from seeing myself in something that's more, form fitting, more body kind, that makes me feel good, and I wanted to evolve and I wanted to transform into a more mature looking person, or attract different type of people because of my aesthetic being different, then I would have to take that as, I know what I attract by looking like this. What do I have to do to change this to attract better? We were in a hormone challenge earlier tonight, and we were talking about, transforming to attract what it is that you want. A lot of people say that they want certain things. A lot of people say that they want, successful guys. You want successful friends who are, who have integrity, who are reciprocating whatever type of energy that you're giving off. Like, a lot of people say that they want that, but what are you doing to attract the people that you currently are attracting? What are you doing to stay in the place that you're in right now? Because what you're doing right now is a product of your environment. The things that you're choosing to do, the people that you're choosing to hang around, is a product of your environment and your choices and the way that you see yourself. When you're dating, when you're scouting for friends, when you're scouting for jobs, it's a direct reflection of your self-worth, and it's a direct reflection of how you value yourself in general. So if you find yourself as valuable, if you find yourself worthy of somebody who's at a higher caliber, who in a bigger tax bracket, somebody who's kind, somebody, whatever the case is, you have to ask yourself, how am I presenting myself, and am I presenting myself in a way that is reciprocal? Like, the person that I'm trying to attract, are they even checking for that? Are they like, I think I'm beautiful no matter if I got my locks out or if I have a wig on. I think I'm beautiful whether I got a face beat or if I'm in bare face. I think I'm beautiful regardless, because I've done the work to love me. I've done the work to like myself without all of these things, the outside things. And I noticed that the last couple of videos that I had where I was talking about girls need to, especially black women, you need to put a face on, put yourself together before you step out, going to an event or anything like that requires you to wear heels, that requires that a camera or something is going to be out. And there was so much backlash from it, because a lot of people don't understand duality. A lot of people don't understand that I can be sexy and also be classy. I can be, a city girl and also a country girl. Everything doesn't have to be all at once. I really need people to understand that we are multidimensional people, meaning that you can also really, really, really love sex. Like, I hate this thing where people feel like women are supposed to hide that we like sex. Like, I don't understand. Like, if men want us to actually do with them, why would you want us to portray ourselves as not even liking the act? I'm confused. Jasmine Sullivan said it better. This is why hoes be winning. And it's because we need to think like a hoe and act like a lady. Think like a hoe and act like a lady. Meaning that, think provocative. Think of, and that's one of the tips. I don't even know how many tips I got. I didn't have any written down, but I'm going to give y'all a couple tips because, again, I'm not going to be on here long. But tip number 1, with tapping into your sensuality and, I guess, ways to embrace your sensuality in a more accepting way, I guess, if you want to label it something. The first thing is to, when you're out with people that you are attracted to, think of vulgar thoughts. Think of vulgar thoughts. Think of all the nastiest things that you want to do to that person. Undress them with your eyes. Make them feel like, not make them think in your mind. This is all going on in your head, but just think of the nastiest things that you can do to this person. Don't speak it. Don't do anything. Don't touch on them or anything like that, but just look at them in a way, like, while you're thinking of these things, just look at them. What's going to happen when you do this is your body is going to automatically be vulnerable. Your body language is going to automatically give off, I want you. And then pheromones, y'all. I don't know if y'all know nothing about pheromones, but pheromones are a thing. A guy knows when you're aroused. Like, they know, they can smell it when you're aroused. So you don't have to actually say dirty jokes or, give like little sex jokes and things to make yourself comfortable because he's doing it. All you have to do is think the naughty thoughts and then just laugh or smile or wink or, just give a little look like, boy, I will eat you up. Okay? Like, that's how you tap into your sensual energy when you're around other people or like in the act. That's tip number 1. And I'll give y'all the rest as I think of them. But I guess number 2 would be getting in touch with your senses of how you feel. So for one, taking a shower can be the most common way that you can tap into your sensual vibes. I'm not talking about masturbation. That's nowhere on this list because that's, again, sexuality, more so sensuality. Most people don't. If I say to do a womb massage, it would just be regular old masturbation with you. So I'm not even going to recommend anything that has anything to do with your genitalia, simply because I'm pretty sure y'all do that enough. So we want to tap into other areas of the body where we can be sensual. In the shower is a perfect place to do that. Or before you even get into the shower. I don't know about y'all, but it's a whole process for me to shower. It's a whole process. For one, I'm probably going to do a little dry brushing first. Hey, babes. I'm probably going to do some dry brushing first before I get into it. Exfoliate a little bit first. So feeling on that and see how that makes me feel. Of course, it's dry, so it's not going to feel sexy or nothing like that. But just feel it. Y'all, I don't know. Some of y'all might like it a little rough, So however it feels to you, acknowledge it. Be in your body. I had somebody ask me this before. I was on a date and a guy asked me before, he was just like, how do you know? I said something about his hands. I was like, oh, your hands are soft. And he was like, yeah, he told me some type of soap or whatever he used, but he was like, yeah, I was like, yeah, mine are too. And he was like, how do you know if your own hands are soft though? He's like, I wouldn't know, but thanks. And he was like, how do you know if your own hands are soft? And I was like, I can feel them. Like, are you paralyzed? Like, do you not have feeling in your hands? And he was like, yeah, but it's your own hands. Like, how do you know? I said, because I explained it to him, and this, or you feeling this. And he said, I'm thinking dirty thoughts. It's your advice. Huh? So anyways, how do you know the difference? And I was like, it's because I've practiced so much being inside of my body. Being inside of my body, meaning that I can tell the difference between my top finger and my bottom finger just by doing like this. Because I can feel the difference. I'm tapping into myself and being able to feel the difference. When I'm feeling on my legs, I know the difference between this is my leg and then the feeling. I would tap into the feeling of my hand. But a lot of people are so out of tune with themselves that they can't feel the difference, because it's just like, oh, I'm feeling my leg, so I'm feeling my leg. Not how does my leg feel against the palm of my hand. So I encourage you to try that as well in the shower. So again, I start off with the dry brushing. And then I go into, when I get into the shower, like I use my bar soap. So I use my bar soap first, and then I go hit my target areas, and then I'll go into whatever body wash, if I have a body wash, and I'll go with that. But I use the African net, y'all. I don't use a regular washcloth. I use an African net. So with my African net, that's already exfoliating as well. So even with that, like just feeling that texture go. And again, a lot of people might think, okay, even if you use a washcloth, if it's soft, like, is it exfoliating, is it rough, like what are the textures that you're feeling, and romanticize that. Like between each thing that I do, after I do that, I go and hit with the after the bar soap, then I go into my scrub, whatever sugar scrub I have, and even with that, like the smells of the different soaps that I'm using, from my turmeric bar to my basil body wash to my vitamin C citrus body scrub, like all these different senses that I'm smelling as well. Then the texture of the water running over me. Between each thing that I do before I transfer, I do a complete scrub down of my hands, just my bare hands around my body, my entire body. I'm just gonna feel my wet body and it feels so smooth and so soft. But you get to actually enjoy feeling yourself and feeling your skin. How soft can you touch yourself? How simply can this be? Like on any part of the body, how soft can you touch yourself? What does that actually feel like? On both sides, not just to the touch of the top of your hand, but also to the bottom. What does this actually feel like? That's the second way to tap into your senses, or the second advice I can give you guys for how to tap into your sensuality. The third thing that I would say is to the visuals, like the things that you can see. So with the things that you can see, I can see what's something I could say that turns me on when I'm looking at it. Other than a fine black man, I like to see ocean waves, like actual waves. It doesn't necessarily have to be the ocean, but a body of water, like the waves. It could also be like the river. But seeing bodies of water flow, that does something for me as well. As far as a visual, I'll give you that. So those things, and then obviously what's attractive to the eye, what you're actually attracted to, those things work as well. And then there's some things on a subconscious level that turns you on, but you don't know until you explore those. That's just what I could think of off the top of my head. But getting into those as well. The reason why I'm telling you guys this is because when you are tapped into your sensual energy, this is how you start, or not even I don't want to even say sensual energy. When you're tapped into pleasure, when you tap into pleasure, this gives yourself the ability to manifest things at such an exponential rate. Why is this? What's the science behind this? When you're doing things that you don't want to do, your body begins to tense up. Your body begins to find anxiety. Your body begins to resist whatever that is, because it's something that you do not want to do. It's something that your heart does not desire. It's something that is probably working against your greater good, right? If you're going to a job that you don't like, if you're dating somebody that you really just tolerating but that you don't trust, and all this other stuff, if you're in a place where you're in a home where you don't feel safe, you're in an environment where you don't feel safe, you're moody all the time, all of these things are indicators that you're not in a safe space. It's an indicator that you're doing things that are going against what your body desires or what your soul desires. When you're doing things that goes away against your highest good, you're going to shut down. This is where the physical ailments start to come in, because you're doing things, you're starting to store, especially for our women, you start to store those traumas into your womb space, into your lower chakras. And this is where we get the hormonal dysfunction. This is where we get the infertility. This is where we get the cysts and the fibroids, because we're throwing those toxins, we're suppressing those emotions of doing things that we do not like, swimming upstream, doing things that does not give us pleasure and give us joy. When we're doing those things, it causes our body to shut down. It's literally a cancer to us. So the complete opposite of that has to be when you do things that you enjoy, when you do things that give you pleasure, you start to attract more of what you want. You start to be a magnet to good things, because you're telling your body, hey, we like doing this. We want more of it. I say this all the time. Stop faking orgasms. If you are somebody who fakes orgasms, shame on you. Stop faking orgasms. Stop doing things that you don't want to do. Stop making people think that it's okay. Like, stop being the bigger person and just swallowing stuff. Like, speak up for yourself. Open your throat chakra and start speaking up for yourself, because every single time you just, it's not that big of a deal. Every single time you still going to do it anyway. Well, somebody got to do it. Every single time you do that, you're telling your body, hey, it doesn't matter what we like. It doesn't matter if we're happy. Give me more discomfort. Give me more pain. Give me more things that don't feel good. That's what you're telling yourself. Facts. It's definitely self-betrayal when you're working against yourself. And that's the literal definition of a sin. We want to take it to the biblical aspects of things. That's what a sin is. When you know better and you don't do better. When you're working against your flesh. When you're working against, not your flesh, when you're working against your spirit to satisfy your flesh. Or whatever fleshly desires that you might have. Because that's usually when we're working against ourselves, when we're trying to satisfy our flesh. Your flesh and your higher self typically are at war with each other. So when you're working to satisfy your flesh, and your flesh is not all the way, not all the time, but when you are in a place where you haven't started a healing journey, or you don't know what you're doing, you just still bedded in trauma, when you are still in that place, when you are doing things to satisfy your flesh, typically there are things that goes against your highest good. This is why we have people, you sleeping all day. You just want to sleep. Thank you for the gifts, babe. You want to sleep. You want to sleep all day. Because your body, you want to hit that snooze button because your flesh is telling you that. Is it wrong? That's up to you to decide. I can't tell you whether that's right or wrong. I don't believe in what's right or wrong. It just is what it is. You just want to sleep. But your flesh wants to sleep. Your spirit wants you to get up and meditate. Your spirit wants you to get up and pray. Your spirit wants you to get up and start the day so that you won't be tired and still, oversleeping tomorrow too. Your flesh wants you to eat that donut. Your flesh wants you to take that drink. Because your flesh is feeding your trauma. But when we stop feeding our flesh and what we think that we want to do, your flesh wants you to have all the wild, crazy sex that you want to have. Because it feels good. But your higher self wants you to preserve yourself. Your higher self wants you to practice retention. Excuse me. That's what your higher self wants you to do. And so when you're giving into that, you won't have any other choice but to be magnetic to all the other things. There has yet to be a time where I sacrificed feeding my flesh and I didn't come out with a greater reward. Even if the smallest thing, I chose not to drink, so I didn't have a hangover the next day while everybody else around is hungover. I chose not to go to that party. Everybody else come back, bro, it was a fight that broke out. Anytime I go towards my intuition, and this is also how you strengthen your intuition. When you start doing things that, when you start building that pleasure muscle, when you start tapping into that sensuality, your sensuality is also your gut. It's also your intuition. When your intuition is telling you, I don't really think that's the best thing for me to do. Somebody who's not tapped into that, they're going to just go with the flow because they're used to betraying themselves. They're used to, it really don't matter that much. versus somebody who has those boundaries, who set those boundaries, who knows when their body is trying to communicate with them, telling them that that's not the best thing for us. They know how to get out of or avoid trouble. Not even get out. You won't even be able to get in it because your discernment will be so sharp. So when we allow social media, when we allow society, let's take out sexuality and this whole culture and, you know, body positivity and things like that. Y'all, I'm all for it. Love your body and all those other things. But understand, and I'm saying this from a psychological point of view, understand that it is not love. It is not love to just say, I love my body, and so I want to show it to the world. That's not necessarily love, because I could see if you was getting paid for it. I could see if you was getting paid for it. You know, there's a little gray area right there. But at the same time, because I mean, our bodies can be a work of art. You know, they are a work of art. So I could see if you was getting paid for it. I'm not gonna necessarily say that that's completely wrong. But even on that side, most valuable things are not easily accessible, regardless of whether you're getting paid for it or not. You've never seen a Rolls-Royce commercial. You've never seen it because they don't have to advertise that they're valuable. You don't have to tell anybody. I just posted, I reposted, it was a long little, I doubt if it was even real, but it was a good story about like a father talking to his daughter about an iPhone. He bought an iPhone and she put a case on it and a screen protector, and he was like, oh well, when I bought you this iPhone, did anybody have to tell you to put a case on it? He was like, nah. You know, the daughter said, nah, it was recommended because, I mean, it's common sense. It's valuable. I don't want to break it, and I'm going to get more durability out of it. And he was like, oh, well, does it make it look uglier with the case on? He's like, nah, it actually makes it look more beautiful. And it was a much more things that went on with the conversation. And the moral of the story was, so if I would assume that your body is way more valuable than an iPhone 5, and you got insurance on that, you got protection over it, you're covering it in all aspects so it doesn't get broken, so it doesn't get damaged, so it doesn't get scuffed up and torn and worn out. So why wouldn't you do the same thing for your body, for your temple? Why wouldn't you cover it? Why wouldn't you protect it from people energetically and physically? Why wouldn't you be protecting it? Why would you have yourself out here all vulnerable and open for everybody else? So, I want you to, he said, we have not seen a Rolls-Royce commercial because no one can afford it. Who is no one? They literally sell Rolls-Royces, so you can't afford it, but there are plenty of people who can afford a Rolls-Royce. But, yeah, there is this culture right now where women are being told that, you know, be proud of your body, be proud of, even when it comes to like body shaming, like body positivity with size. I am still a big girl, but I've lost a lot of weight, right? And even when I weighed almost 300 pounds, like I was still confident in my skin. I was never, and even with me being, you know, being smaller now, I have never been the delusional BBW who acts like I'm just happy being fat. You know, like I was happy with my body because it was my body. Like, what am I going to do? Be depressed? Like, I ain't about to put this burger down. So what am I be depressed about it? I got to learn how to love it, right? I've never been an advocate for, you know, just stay the way you are. Oh, this is good enough. You're just going to have to take me as I am. If I don't look at myself and say I can be flawed and still love myself, that's a problem. A lot of people, especially women, we get to the point where we have to fight so much for our confidence that now it's so triggering for anybody to tell you that you need to be corrected. You can be big and still be beautiful and still be confident and still also know that you need to lose weight because it's just simply not healthy. So when we are tapping into sensuality, it comes with a level of truth. It comes with a level of, am I really happy in my skin? Like, do I really love to be naked? Or do I really need validation? Do I really like the attention of people looking at me? And this is just a conversation to have to yourself, because I know most of the time I didn't give a damn who was looking at me. For real, like, I just don't like wearing clothes. That was my thing. Like, I don't like being restricted. So when in my mind, that's what's going on. But on a subconscious level, was that really it? Did I like the attention or whatever? I could just not, have it's not abandonment issues, but I'm a Capricorn. I don't like to be controlled. I don't like to be controlled. I don't like to be labeled. I don't like to be put in a box. So I just like to be able to do whatever I want to do. So anything, for me, it was more so rebellious. I want to do what I want to do. Don't tell me that I have to do this to fit into a certain place. But that was also me trying to find control in something that because I didn't feel like I had control over my life. That's just me. Figure out where it applies in your life. Just figure out how it applies in your life. Figure out what parts of yourself are you suppressing and ignoring, and you're looking for validation from society to tell you that you're okay. Because one thing's for sure and two things for certain, that if the masses agrees with you 10 times out of 10, it's not the move. It's not the vibe, and you're not okay. Like, if I'm doing anything and majority of the people are agreeing with what I'm doing, I'm going to go with the opposite thing. I'm going to go with whatever else everybody else is not doing. Because if you tell me that, if everybody else is telling me that they're okay with it, then more than likely it's not okay. Thank you for the roses, love. So do y'all understand that? Like, does that make sense to everybody? Like, the difference between the sensuality and the sexuality, I really want y'all to really grasp that, because as women, I want you to be sensual. I want you to feel all the things. I want you to be able to express yourself and not be so caged in. I know so many women, this is just in my clients, like they're so standoffish when it comes to dating, when it comes to being around other women. Like, I used to be like that. Like, I'm not a huggy person. Don't touch me. Like, physical touch has never been my love language up until like a couple years ago when I started to go on this my healing journey. And when I was like, okay, well, why am I so aggressive? Like, why I don't like nobody touching me? Until I got around people where I felt safe with. Until I met people that I felt safe hugging. Until I got to make some friends who are always hugging. I'm like, can you back up, please? But then I learned, like, girl, like, those are trauma responses because you were never hugged as a child. That I didn't grow up in a house with hugs and kisses. It was, all right, let's go to the store. Put your shoes on. We about to go to Penny's. Like, it was always, let's go shopping. Here goes some money. That was the love language. So that was my love language as an adult. Like, how I know you like me, you're not giving me no gifts. How I know you like me if you ain't spending no money on me? And the toxic other side of that is also thinking that that was love just because they were spending money on me. That didn't equate to the same thing, but that's how I interpret it until I got to the bottom of, okay, why do I not like affection? Why do I not want nobody to touch me? Like, it's something wrong with that, because as humans, we need connection. We need to touch each other. We need to feel human to human. Like, we're going into a world of AI. And trust me, I love a good toy, but at the same time, like, I had to check myself, like, baby girl, you're getting a little too comfortable with not getting a real thing. You're getting a little too comfortable with not liking a real thing or not wanting a real thing. That's a problem. You said that'd be the thing we don't feel safe. Right. That's really what it is. When I'm talking to my clients and telling them, like, what PMS symptoms and you being moody, I hate when girls be like, oh, I'm on my period, so that just means this is why I'm moody. That means you're not in a safe environment. That means you're not in a safe environment. If you're on your period and being pregnant are the two things that you are the most sensitive as a woman, are the two times where you're the most sensitive as a woman. Meaning that your senses are heightened to the max. And when you feel moody, that's your senses telling you, hey, we shouldn't be here. That's your energy saying, hey, we're not safe here. And people look at it like, well, what if I gotta go to work? Or what if I'm at home and I still feel like this? The answer don't change. You don't feel safe there. You don't feel safe with your partner. They haven't created a space for you to feel safe. You don't feel safe at home. You don't feel safe at work. So this is why you're moody. This is why you feel standoffish. This is why you feel like a hint of depression when you're on your cycle. So I want you guys to really understand. So I'd be cool, calm, and collected. So I guess I'm good. Right, you are good. I didn't realize this until I got my own place. When I got my first apartment, that's when I realized that I wasn't moody on my periods. That the world was just weird. Because I never had that ever happen again. Like, I never was moody on my periods again unless I went to school, like if I was at school on my period. And then it was still kind of like not most of the time because I'm not at school that long. Excuse me. So yeah, that's when I realized, oh, this is my energy trying to protect me. This is my energy telling me, retreat. So when we tap into these things and we're able to identify these things, because our body is always communicating with us. AI stands for artificial intelligence. So when we start to see these things and actually respond to them, don't just say, well, I don't feel good in this space, and then you're still there. You're not changing anything about the environment. Don't pour more energy into it. Step back. See how you can change this. Of course, y'all know what I'm going to tell you. Back up. Back up. Like, don't go to work on your first day. Like, I'm going to tell you to retreat. Y'all can make 1,000,001 excuses if you want to. Everybody can't afford to leave their job. Everybody can't take days off. Like, y'all be blowing me. Because I swear, I thought that we were free. I thought that, ain't that what y'all love to say? I ain't my ancestors. We ain't our ancestors. We ain't no slaves. It's given slavish. When you talking about how you gonna call off of work, how you gonna get out of work just because you're on your period, how you gonna lead a function, how you gonna stop dealing with your family, easy. Stop doing it. There's no other way around it. I don't have a hack for you. Just don't do it. Don't go to school. Take the absence. Take the point. Whatever the case is. I promise you, there has not been a client that I've had. There's not been a client that I've had that's went through the hormone challenge who was working whatever job that wasn't in alignment with their higher self, who didn't lose their job and then get a job before the challenge was over, or get some type of currency coming in that was something that they actually desired to do. There has not been one. You come into the challenge working 2-3 jobs and this hustle mentality, it's gonna stop. It's not gonna last. It's just not gonna last. I'm not leaving my good job. Stay a slave then. That's your prerogative. Nobody cares. So I really want y'all to understand that everything is about decisions. Everything is about choices. What choices are you making, and are they for your highest good? Are they moving you towards more pleasure? Do they make you feel good? I am an advocate for not doing things that I don't want to do. I'm not doing something that I don't want to do, because I'm not going to train my body to start to accept and to love things that don't make me feel good. I will never go back to that. When I started being selfish with my energy, when I started being more intentional on where I was putting my energy, everything changed. When I started to find pleasures in ways outside of sex, when I started to find pleasures in ways outside of other people, and started to tap into myself and see, how do I turn myself on? How do I get pleasure from things that have absolutely nothing to do with physical touch? How do I make myself feel good just from my day-to-day activities? This is what we mean when we say romanticize your life. Everything should make you feel good that you do. Like, just waking up in the morning. Y'all, I kid you not, but I make my life look like, you know, I was about to say a Tubi movie, but I make myself look like I make my life look like a production. Okay, like even getting out of the bed, like I'm imagining myself as I'm imagining myself as I'm looking at myself, like as if somebody else is looking for me, like looking at me, like as if I'm an actor, right? That's how I wake up. I wake up with the mindset of like, how can I get out of bed feeling sexy? How can I pull these sheets back to feel like, how can I fluff my pillow up before I go to bed? Tubi movie is wild. That is a little wild because my life not low budget, but I just love. I gotta give it to y'all. Gonna see me on Tubi, y'all. Like for real, for real. I ain't sleeping on Tubi because I'm about to be a Tubi actor, for real, for real. But it's a beautiful place to be in for sure, when you can make everything just feel like romanticize every aspect of your life as much as possible. Even it might look like being like super girly, like if y'all see like really prissy girls. I don't consider myself prissy, but I am. I am a little bit, but it's just certain things. Like I try to do everything slower. I used to be somebody who just like kind of rushes through things. Even when it comes to me speaking, I'm learning to like slow down when I talk a little bit. But this is something that I've learned to do that helps as well. Slowing down with a lot of things, like making time. I hate to hear people say I don't have time. You didn't make time. You haven't prioritized it. You always have time to improve your life. We all get the same amount of time. What you choose to do with yours is what you choose to do with yours. But I promise you, when you start to prioritize your relationship with God and prioritize your relationship with yourself, everything else just happens to fall in place. In that order. Build a relationship with God. If you're not in the Patreon, get in the Patreon, patreon.com/Oshunyinka. Get in the Patreon so that you can build a better relationship with God. And simultaneously, as you build a relationship with God, God is going to start to show you the blueprint of what you're supposed to be doing. Not what you feel like doing, not what you think you're supposed to be doing, but what you're actually supposed to be doing in alignment with your destiny, that's going to make you feel good. Alafia. So I started to be bougie and elegant. It makes me feel like a delicate flower. Yes, period. I want you to feel like a delicate flower because you are. You are. Ooh. Y'all hear that? I'm gonna sleep really, really good. We ain't had no good thunderstorm in so long out here in Texas. I'm gonna eat it up. I'm gonna sleep real good. So we got to get off of here soon, y'all. But what was I about to say? Yeah, I want you to feel like that you're in your soft girl era. You said you're entering it. Yes, get into your soft girl era. Get into a place where you feel soft and dainty with everything, because that is your superpower. We have this negative connotation that, who is it, like the Marilyn Monroes and the girls that's just like super dingy, the blondes, all of that. We have this indication that means that they're slow, that they don't think for themselves, that they're not that smart, and that they're just dumb blondes. Like, y'all, it's a method to, once you learn the method to that, once you learn that that's your superpower, to be vulnerable, to be soft, to be delicate, to act like you don't know nothing, that is a superpower. To act like you don't know nothing, that is a full-blown superpower. To act clueless about everything is a superpower, because guess what? The reason why you think that you need to act like you know everything is based off of you thinking that you have to prove a point, or you feeling like you need to be validated, or you feeling like somebody needs to appreciate the work that you know. Like, oh, I went to school to learn this, so I have to, like, I am like the least person, like I'm so credible, like I have so many degrees and things like that. And you will never hear me once in an argument or in a debate or anything say, oh, because of, well, I am a licensed esthetician, or I do have a degree in this, like, because it means nothing to me. I know the information because I know the information. It has that piece of paper does not validate the information that I know, and I don't argue with fools. So I'm going to say what I need to say, but I don't need to back it up as if it means anything more just because I got a degree in this behind it. I graduated with a lot of idiots. That means absolutely nothing. You said the thunder was confirmation. Ashe. You said you didn't won. Girl, but this is I want y'all to really tap into this, like, that when you're into that sensual, that dingy, like, bimbo type of mentality, it is a superpower. For one, people want to help you more when they feel like when you can do in a feminine way, when you can ask for help, when you can act like you don't know nothing, but not act like you don't know nothing, if that makes sense. Like, someone who just feels entitled to know stuff because someone else knows something is completely different for somebody who really doesn't know anything, but they're coming with a little bit more appreciation, a little bit more seduction, a lot more friendlier with their approach, a lot more concern. Like, if y'all have never read How to Win Friends, how to influence people and make friends, or whatever the book is called, like, being able to, like, studying people, studying the behaviors of humans, like, being able to know, like, why somebody thinks this way, why somebody behaves this way, being able to be someone who cares about what other people got going on without actually caring what other people got going on. But people love talking about themselves, allowing people to ask questions and allowing people to rant on and on and on about themselves. They'll think that y'all are best friends. Like, oh my gosh, we got so much in common. How do I know this? Because so many of y'all get played like this when y'all out on dates or when y'all talking to people. If you're somebody who's like an oversharer, like, you might give all the tea to somebody and you just feel like, oh, we hit it off so well, and they just playing you, or they don't know nothing about you. They just let you talk. And you feel like y'all have connected on a high level, but you just talked. You talked and heard yourself talk, and they just agreed with everything you said, and now you feel like y'all are close. That's how the human mind works. You feel safe with them because they allowed you to just vent to them. They allowed you to discuss something that you were passionate about. They allowed you to say, however you feel about something that you've been waiting to tell somebody and nobody else around you cared to listen to it. So now you think that this person is just a safe place to talk to. A safe person to talk to. This is how you win people over. And so when you have done absolutely nothing but be a great listener, and then you can give on the other side of that, you can go and ask for something, and some people would not mind helping you because you were just being a good friend. You were being a good listener, an active listener. I'm not saying just to, not be actually listening, but be an active listener. Remembers people's names. When they tell you their names, remember their names. The way that I do that, because I'm terrible with names, if I don't ask you immediately, when somebody tells me their name, if I don't repeat it back to them immediately, I'm going to forget. And if I don't repeat it back to you immediately, it's because I don't want to remember. Because I'm not going to remember. I ain't going to say all the time. Most of the time, it's because I don't want to remember. Sometimes I really do forget. And then I'll still ask again before I get off the conversation because I do want to know your name. So, but addressing people by their first names, that's how you can win people over as well. But that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother live. If y'all are not on YouTube, go follow me on YouTube where we get more spills like this, because as y'all can see, they still banning us over here. Tonight we got at least 10 people. I've seen about maybe 10 or 15 people. It's been like 5 people for the past 2 months. So thank y'all so much for vibing with me. Y'all got any questions before we head out? Because I definitely want to get in the shower, take my face off, and relax and get prepared for my tomorrow. I've been working on my night routine, y'all. So, I'm trying to make sure I stay up with that. I've been pretty good the last 2 days. So y'all got any questions before we head out? I am going to actually try to post this, if it's not too long, try to post this onto my YouTube channel so you guys can get the replay for sure. But if you guys don't have any questions, thank y'all so much for vibing with the girl. If you're not already following me, make sure you follow me. Said new people I meet, I make them address me by my real name and not my nickname. Is that a new boundary? Is that a new boundary? Because why would they, if it's a new person, you mean like if they know you, what do you mean? Like you introduce yourself from your real name instead of your nickname now? Because if they don't know you, how would they know your nickname? Hey, Monet. Okay. Well, yeah, that's good. I like that. First of all, that was never a good idea. Because, I mean, people say they know someone, or they know how someone knows them based off of the name that they call them. I can kind of say the same thing. You said they try to call you Ty. Thank you, babes. Oh, okay, yeah. I understand that. Because I, even with like my sisters, like my sister doesn't call me by, well, she does sometimes, but most of the time she doesn't call me Yinka. And so when she's like talking to her boyfriend, or she's on the phone with her boyfriend, but she's talking to me, she might still call me like my nickname. And so he had called me that one day, and I was just like, bro, you don't know me like that? And he's like, I'm sorry, like, I know that this is what you introduced me as, but I be hearing your sister call me this. I literally got both of them. He showed me his phone. He had both my nickname and Yinka in his phone. And I was just like, yeah, Yinka. So, yeah, I feel the same way with that. But I've always been a firm believer in, you gotta know me. Like, I be correcting my family on calling me by my nickname, because that's not who I identify as. So respect that as I grow and develop. Like, don't call me that, because I just don't be answering sometimes. Except for like my grandma, because she's just so adamant. This is not your name. This is your name. Like, girl, get over it. He said, because I want them to know the real me, and my nickname is tied to the old me. Facts. I just had this conversation with my mom, actually. She just got her braces taken off. And my mom used to have a gap. So people know her as like light-skinned Keisha with the gap, So when she was talking about, her teeth are so little. Like, my mom has really small teeth. So she was like, I want them to do something else, like pull my teeth down. I guess she meant like push her gums back or something, like to make her teeth look bigger, because she was like, I look like I don't have no teeth unless I'm smiling. And I was just like, Ma, you just spent like $8,000 on your teeth. What are you not smiling about? Like, you should be smiling all the time. Most people who get braces taken off, like, you can't stop them from smiling. Like, why aren't you smiling? And she was like, yeah, I guess so. Like, what, I'm supposed to just be walking around grinning? Like, if I spent that much money on my mouth, like, trust me, you can't pay me to keep my mouth closed. What are you talking about? I said, is it really that, or is it just because you miss your gap? Because she didn't get braces to close her gap. She got braces because of something with her jawline or whatever. And so she was like, yeah, I do kind of miss my gap. But I was like, people don't know you as the new Keisha without the gap. Like, so you have to put, like, and she got locks now. Like, everybody used to know her from switching her wig up every day. So I'm just like, you're not that person anymore. You're not light-skinned Keisha with the gap. Like, that you is old and gone. So learn how to adapt to this new version of yourself, and start to give people, like, she was like, yeah, I think I'll go by Tawanda now. And I was like, and you should, because that's no longer you. Like, at any given time, I don't care how old you are, how young you are, you always have the authority to change the trajectory of your life. You always have the authority to switch up your identity and rebrand yourself. Nobody is holding you hostage to who you used to be. Nobody is holding you hostage to your past environments and your past decisions. You literally can reinvent yourself any given time. I've done it like 3 or 4 times. I've done it so many times, and I find it so funny. Like, I just recorded a video earlier today. It probably won't be posted until what's today? Tuesday. It probably won't be posted until Friday, but I was talking about this as well, like being duality and learning how to be multidimensional. There are some things, like, for the past 6 or 7 years. Hey, love. I haven't seen you in a minute. I for the past 6 or 7 years, like, I was the hippie girl. But when I was telling my hormone challenge today, like, people in the hormone challenge, I was like, this is who I was like 10 years ago. Like, face beat to the guys every day, hair slayed. Like, my first business was actually selling wigs and doing bundles, like selling hair. Like, that was my first business that I ever started when I was like 20. This is who I identified with before. Now that I'm back into it, I built a brand like Yinka and being the natural girl that's out in the wilderness with no shoes on and stuff like that. Like, I've always been a country girl too, but I always was taught to keep myself up. So people who don't know me looking at it as, oh girl, you switching up. Or I thought you didn't do all that. I thought you didn't wear weave. I thought you didn't do all, like, who told you that? Who told you that? I've always been able to do both, babes. I've always been able to do both. The only difference is I didn't have nowhere to be. I didn't have a platform. I didn't have, I wasn't in the rooms that I'm in right now that required me to look like I care. Like, even though, I'm not saying that I didn't care when I was looking that way, because I cared more back then, because that was during a time where I was figuring out myself. Who am I without the extra? Who am I without the makeup, without the hair, without, the clothes and all this? Like, who am I without all of that? That's when I was going through my shadow phase. That's when I was getting to know and love the natural version of myself. Now that I'm able to step out and also switch up my branding so people can now see, like, yeah, I went through a healing phase, babes. If you're still in your healing phase where you still, you just got rid of the weaves and the makeup and all the other stuff, then stay in your lane. Put in your time, and figure yourself out. Learn to love the raw version of yourself the same way I did. That doesn't mean just go back and hop back into it just because you see me doing it, because I'm still preaching the same thing. I'm still preaching self-love. I'm still preaching to be comfortable in your own skin. I'm still preaching womb health. And if you want a womb health journey and you're trying to get rid of fibroids, you don't need to have no makeup on. But I want you guys to understand that duality exists. I want you to understand that you can be sensual and you can be attractive and you can be magnetic to everything you desire by simply doing things that bring you more pleasure. If getting dolled up, beating your face, and putting on a nice little wig makes you feel pleasurable, makes you feel sexy, then do it. Do it. And do it unapologetically. Don't do it because somebody told you need to do it. Even myself. Don't do it because you feel like you're obligated to do it to fit in somewhere. Like, bro, there was a plenty of places that I just did not go. My motto used to be, if I gotta put a bra on, don't invite me. Because I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. That used to be my motto. But now, I just started modeling. And from going from not wearing drawers for like over a decade, and now you're telling me I gotta wear whole shapewear? This is the life that I wanted, though. I want to act. I want to be in front of the camera. I want to build my confidence with my speaking, because I know that this is my gift. My communication is my gift. So as I know that I'm getting more confident to be not only sit in front of my phone and talk to the masses, but I also, like, Spirit is preparing me to be able to stand in front of stadiums, to be able to stand in front of people and be able to communicate in the same confident way. Because I like intimate settings. Like, I like, maybe like 10 people or less. Like, I don't like big crowds when it comes to me being physically in the room. I don't like big crowds. But I'm learning to like those crowds. I'm learning to be comfortable in those situations, because that's what I know that I'm destined to go. Like, that's just the next path of my journey. So it's not enough for me to just say, oh, I don't like it, and run away from it. I gotta learn to like it, because I don't do things I don't like doing. I don't do things that I don't want to do. I want to be a model. I want to be an actress. So I'm going to do whatever it takes to step out of my comfort zone to be in that thing. So how do I find pleasure standing in front of people? How do I find pleasure communicating? How do I find pleasure being in, doing, like, I've always loved doing my makeup. I just don't like taking it off because it's a whole process. But I love my skincare routine. I love being able to switch it up where people don't know, like, you cannot predict how I'm going to come out the house today. I could be well over the top, dramatic. I could be sexy casual. I could be, super casual. I could be hippie. Like, I could be spiritual. Like, I could be so many different things because I am so many different things. And the people that are for me accepts all of those versions. That's the gag. You shouldn't be for everybody. You shouldn't be for everybody. There's a whole debate going on with different friend groups for different things. I used to believe in that until I got real friends that I could be all versions of myself with, and they not judge me and they not feel like, I'm doing too much. Like, that's when I realized the same thing with dating. I used to have a roster with, 5 different guys who serve 5 different purposes until I met guys that filled all 5 of those purposes. I didn't need a food guy and a shopping guy. I didn't need a massage guy and the guy that I was having sex with. Like, I didn't need all these different guys. I could find them in one person. The same thing I feel like is with my friends. I used to think that I needed different friend groups. Nah. I just needed to attract people with my authentic self. And now I have people in my life that I can be all of those different versions with, and they were still respected. That's the goal. And that didn't happen until I took the time to get to know myself and to get to know the things that I love and the things that make me feel good. I don't care about what makes nobody else feel good. It has to make me feel good first. And that's what's going to allow me to be magnetic and attract the people who feel and like the same things that make me feel good. That's just how life works. But until you learn how to be more pleasurable, until you learn how to be more sensual and tap into all of your different flavors, all of your different vibes, all of your different personalities, and stop depriving yourself of your pleasures. Like, I'm pretty sure most of y'all know, like, if y'all not new, but, I was in the BDSM community for a while, and a lot of people, they just are behooved when I tell them that, or they automatically think like that I was a dom when I was in that. And I was like, no, like, I was a sub. I'm always a sub because I'm very submissive. But people didn't see that side of me. Even when I was doing that and I was dating guys, like, and I was doing that on the side, like, guys would think that, I like to be dominant, and I was like, dominatrix and whipping dudes, and that's not my speed. I get no arousal from doing that. I do not like seeing men in vulnerable positions. I just do not. That does not turn me on at all. But people thought that about me because I always had this tough exterior out. Again, I was never with the guy who made me feel safe. So of course you're not going to see the submissive side of me because I didn't feel safe enough to be vulnerable with you. I didn't feel safe enough to let my guard down and actually be like loving and caring for you without feeling like you was going to manipulate me. But when I learned how to use my superpowers, when I learned that vulnerability is the greatest strength that you could ever have, when I learned that it wasn't that I was asking too much, I was just asking the wrong people, that's when everything changed for me. But it started with me asking myself, what do you want? What makes you feel good? Why are you trying to please everybody else and just neglecting what you desire? That's the real tea. Why do you feel like you have to make everything so easy and so comfortable for everybody else? You so worried about, I don't want to hurt their feelings. Fuck their feelings. How do you feel? Selfish people get further in life, and that just is what it is. People who are self-centered, people who just always, you feel like they're self-absorbed, and I'm not saying this in a asshole kind of way, but just like in a literal way. People who just are always thinking about themselves first, they get further in life, because if I am not doing something that makes me feel good, you're not going to want me there. You're not going to want me there. I'm not going to be an asset to you if I'm doing something that does not bring me pleasure. If I'm doing something that does not make me feel good in some type of way. If I can't find something in it that makes me feel good, it's not going to be pleasurable for either of us. I mean, it might be for them because they're still getting what they want done, but no, I'm going to feel terrible. And if I feel terrible, I'm going to make it sure that you feel terrible too. For sure. For sure. I'm just kidding. My misery does not love company. But, that just is what it is, y'all. Like, I really want y'all to understand that sensuality is key. Like, I really, 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 really need you to understand that being selfish with your energy, being selfish with your time, and being selfish with what makes you feel good is very important. It's very important. I need you guys to understand that. I really, really, really want you to understand it. That what makes you feel good is so important. Romanticize your life every single day. Find something to make it yourself feel good in everything that you do. Brushing your teeth, make it feel sexy. Brushing your hair, make it feel sexy. Driving, make it feel sexy. How can you whip this car, whip this Honda, as sexy as you can? I learned that from my grandma. Every time she get her nails done, she drives in a certain way, like looking at her nails. So I started driving like that. I don't drive no more, y'all. Like, I'm a passenger princess. But when I was driving, like, I would find myself driving like that every time I just got my nails done. Romanticize your life. Feel good. Smell good. Do things that make your house smell good. If you're in the Rebirth Society, we got so many trainings on how to make your home a sanctuary. Like, that's like rule number 1. Is the place you lay your head a safe space? That's the first thing. Romanticize your home. And then the rest of your life will follow. Because at home is where you're doing most of, outside of work, that's where you're doing most of your building, your spiritual growth, your development. If you're studying for something, most of the time you're doing that at home. Romanticize your home. Make your house feel luxurious in however many ways you can. Get you some nice candles. Get you nice smell goods. Like, make sure you got nice sheets and things like that in your room. Romanticize your life. Get some plants. Like, get some color in there going. Like, make your life feel like a movie. Imagine your life just being like a movie and live in it. And sooner than later, it's going to become your reality. I promise. I promise. I promise. And if it doesn't, then book a free consultation to the Hormone Challenge. And it definitely will, because we're going to help you to transform your entire lifestyle to be sustainable and heal holistically from the inside out. For sure, for sure. So, I am actually going to get off this time. Thank y'all so much for vibing with me. I appreciate each and every one of y'all for coming on here, being that no notifications were sent out. So, y'all just happened to catch me on y'all For You page. I'm literally, y'all see I still got some followers, but I'm literally creating my page from scratch because I'm not in the algorithm at all. Like, none of y'all are already in my algorithm. So y'all just have to catch me if y'all following me. So I'm starting from scratch, following my page from scratch. Even though you see a couple numbers on there, my algorithm is like, I have 0 followers. So I ain't complaining. I'm going to just do the work again, because if I done it once, I could do it again. So I appreciate each and every one of y'all who shared the live and joined and follow. And worst case scenario, best case scenario, click the link in my bio and follow me on YouTube, because that's really where it's at. Anyway, so good night, you guys. I'll talk to y'all soon.